Now to the day's other news. The Democratic National Committee says it has uncovered a new attempt to hack its voter database ahead of the midterm elections. DNC officials alerted federal law enforcement to the attack, which was unsuccessful. The news came a day after Facebook and Twitter announced that they had removed hundreds of accounts they believe Iran and Russia created to sow political discord and misinformation. We'll have more on the mounting threat of cyber attacks later in the show. President Trump awarded the Medal of Honor posthumously today to Air Force Sergeant John Chapman for his extraordinary heroism in Afghanistan 16 years ago. Chapman died while trying to rescue a Navy SEAL after their helicopter crashed under enemy fire. The military says he continued to fight al-Qaeda militants and helped to save 20 U.S. service members despite critically wounded. The president gave the award to Chapman's wife and 2 daughters.
John engaged the enemy and provided covering fire in an attempt to prevent the enemy from shooting down our soldiers, our airmen, and that helicopter. In this final act of supreme courage, John gave his life for his fellow warriors.
Chapman is the first member of the Air Force to receive the Medal of Honor for action since the Vietnam War. New U.S. sanctions on Russia were set to take effect today as Russia's ruble slipped to its lowest mark in 2 years. The new measures include a ban on some technology exports to Russia. They are in response to Russia's chemical attack on a former Russian spy and his daughter earlier this year in England. Speaking in Sochi, Russia today, President Vladimir Putin dismissed the U.S. sanctions as misguided.
As for the sanctions, they are counterproductive and senseless, especially in regards of such a country as Russia. We hope that our American partners will eventually realize the uselessness of this kind of politics, and we will start constructive cooperation.
The president suggested earlier this week that he would be willing to remove sanctions on Russia in exchange for cooperation in places like Syria and Ukraine. House Speaker Paul Ryan has stripped Republican Congressman Duncan Hunter of his House committee post last night after Hunter was indicted by a federal grand jury. The Justice Department says the San Diego area lawmaker and his wife misused $250,000 worth of campaign money on expenses like family vacations and their children's school tuition. Hunter has maintained his innocence, and today he called the attack politically motivated.
This is the new Department of Justice. This is the Democrats' arm of law enforcement. That's what's happening right now. And it's happening with Trump, and it's happening with me, and we're going to fight through it and win.
Hunter is remaining on the ballot in this November's election. Meanwhile, Republican voters in Wyoming and Alaska have chosen their nominees for governor. In Wyoming's GOP primary yesterday, State Treasurer Mark Gordon came out ahead of President Trump's pick, billionaire donor Foster Friess. In Alaska, former State Senator Mike Dunleavy beat a crowded field for the Republican nomination. He will compete against the independent incumbent governor and the Democratic former Senator Mark Begich in the general election. Hawaii's Big Island is bracing for Hurricane Lane to unleash dangerous winds and rain over the next several days. The storm weakened from a Category 5 to 4 today, but 155-mile-per-hour wind gusts and flooding are still expected as it draws closer to land. Residents today flocked to supermarkets for supplies. The hurricane could make landfall by tomorrow. U.S. stock markets reached a milestone today, the longest bull market in history. The S&P 500 marked a record stretch of uninterrupted gains since March 2009. The markets observed this day by staying relatively flat. The Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 88 points to close at 25,733. The Nasdaq rose 30 to close at 7889, and the S&P 500 lost 1 point to close at 2862. Still to come on the NewsHour, Michael Cohen's lawyer on what's next after the former Trump attorney pled guilty to federal crimes. Reaction from senators on Capitol Hill. Attempts by Russia and now Iran to influence policy through social media, and much more.